Teachers, singers, and even market vendors talk for hours every day, leaving them with long-term voice problems. In fact, every time you speak, your vocal cords collide between 100 and 200 times per second. And all of this happens in a microscopic structure covered by a thin, sensitive mucous membrane that is entirely dependent on being well hydrated. Now imagine you start talking and never stop. Let's look at the science of talking until you lose your voice and some tips for taking care of it. For some context, dysphonia is any alteration of the voice, from simple hoarseness to the almost total loss of the ability to speak. And like everything in science, it's classified into levels. First, we have mild dysphonia. Here, your voice changes slightly, but you can still speak. Then there's moderate dysphonia. Here, hoarseness is noticeable, speaking is difficult, and it can even be painful. And finally, severe dysphonia. Here, you can barely make any sounds. There is real pain, inflammation, or even bleeding. During this hypothetical experiment, your body will go through these stages. So let's see, hour by hour, how your voice is slowly destroyed. Hour 1, you're fresh, your voice sounds clear, the mucus lining your larynx is doing its job, and your vocal cords are vibrating efficiently. You might start to feel thirsty, but other than that, everything is fine. Interestingly, at this stage, your body doesn't even flinch. The human voice was made for speaking, though not that much, hours 2 to 4. This is where the real wear and tear begins. Lubrication decreases. Your vocal cords are still colliding, but now they're doing so with more friction. This causes micro traumas like microscopic scratches. Your voice starts to sound drier, deeper. If you're also speaking loudly, like in a noisy place, the damage accelerates. Fun fact, professional broadcasters hydrate every 20 minutes precisely to avoid this. Now I need a sip of water, hours 5 to 7. You don't sound the same anymore. Literally, dysphonia appears, that hoarseness that feels like your voice is Batman's after crying all night. Your vocal cords become inflamed. Your body notices and tries to compensate by straining the laryngeal muscles even more. This only worsens the wear and tear. It's like continuing to run with a swollen knee. Here's where an interesting fact comes in. Teachers are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop vocal disorders, and not just nodules or dysphonia. They can also end up with hemorrhages or, in extreme cases, laryngeal cancer. Hours 8 to 12. By now, you've gone too far. There's no longer a clear voice, just labored breathing. The vocal cords are swollen, and you could start developing nodules or polyps, which are small bumps on the cords that change the sound of your voice. Something even uglier appears here, submucosal hemorrhage. When an inflamed vocal cord continues to be strained, it can rupture blood vessels and bleed. Your throat literally bleeds from speaking. Hours 12 to 24. At this point, there's a complete breakdown. Your voice is unrecognizable. It becomes so weak, you sound like an old radio with static. Your body is so tense, you start to feel like you're suffocating. Your larynx may partially collapse, your muscles are exhausted, and your pain receptors let you know. You're not speaking anymore. You're struggling to make a sound, and every second you talk, you're further damaging your vocal cords. So how long can you talk nonstop before you lose your voice? Under normal circumstances, the average person can talk for 8 to 12 hours straight before seriously damaging their vocal apparatus. Beyond that, the risk of chronic damage, severe inflammation, nodules, or hemorrhaging is very high. And yes, there are people who have spoken for more than 24 hours straight, like the Guinness World Record holder, but they ended up with weeks of recovery, vocal therapy, and a lot of honey water. So if you thought losing your voice was just a punishment for screaming at a concert, now you know that even speaking in a normal voice for too long can also destroy you. Take care of your voice, because if you lose it, you won't even be able to complain about this video. So here are some tips. Drink water every 20 minutes, even if it's just a sip. Avoid clearing your throat. Don't shout in noisy environments. And finally, try not to talk so much when you wake up. Subscribe.